Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're going to take a look at Wetaskiwin Alberta. We're going to look at some resident polls and some statistics. Now, if we look at crime, crime gets an F here, an F rating. Total crime is 469% more than the national average in Canada. Now, if we look at them specifically, total crime is 24,000 per 100,000 people. Now, in Alberta, it's only 6,000. In the rest of Canada, it's about 4,200. So you can see that crime is absolutely insane here. The chance of being a victim of property crime in Wetaskiwin is 1 in 6. The chance of being a victim of violent crime is 1 in 22. And the chance of being a victim of any type of crime is just 1 in 5. If we look at some of the quick crime facts here, you can see that Wetaskiwin is safer than 0% of comparable cities in the United States. That's kind of a scary statistic. Now, a lot of headlines hit newspaper and social media. And we can see that violent crime is actually 344% higher than the national average in this small, tiny town in Alberta. A lot of people are complaining and a lot of people are making fun of this. Now, it is kind of fun to chuckle at it, but when we see posts like this where schools are in lockdown, people are getting home invasion attempts on their homes as they're sleeping or getting ready for work, it is a very scary situation. Now, one thing of this post, if we kind of read this post here, at the end it says, since this traumatic experience, they have not heard back from the RCMP. They phoned the person in charge, and since this wasn't a home invasion, there should be a criminal offense associated with this. But no one has gotten back to this person who experienced this. No one has phoned the police station. No one has any info on this, and there's no apparent file number. So was this drugged up person even charged? Asked this poster. And this is after an attempted break and enter into their home and home invasion that caused a huge lockdown in the whole city, including a school getting locked down. So there is cause for concern. Now, the police are trying to do their best here. There is a lot going on. Right now, one of their activities is just taking down encampments, and this is a daily occurrence for the RCMP in this area. So as homeless people kind of prepare themselves in the colder weathers, they're building themselves tent cities, and the police are taking these tent cities down, and they're just popping up in different parts of the community. Now, they're even going as far as breaking into different places like this abandoned
A
hotel.
developing story out of Wetaskiwin tonight, and it's involving this RCMP takedown on Highway 2A near Wetaskiwin. It happened Friday morning. Witnesses called RCMP when a man was spotted walking south down that highway with a gun. As you can see from this video, the RCMP used their vehicle to push the man to the ground. When he got up after the first hit by the RCMP vehicle, he was struck again from behind. At that point, RCMP were able to grab the gun and arrest the 35-year-old. Investigators tell us that the suspect did not respond or stop when officers demanded. As to why he was struck twice by an RCMP vehicle, RCMP officers tell us it was necessary to keep the public and officers safe.
Now, one of the reasons for homelessness and crimes is the ability to afford a home and the ability to take care of oneself through employment. Well, unfortunately, in Wetaskiwin, the unemployment rate is very, very high. It's actually double of what Alberta is currently. It sits at 12%. And that is a statistic from a couple years ago. Currently, we think that it's probably a little bit higher. It's probably at the 12.5 to 12.8% unemployment rate. That is insanely high for such a community. Now, one of the things that leads to crime and homelessness is the ability to find a good paying job or a career. Now, if we poll people that actually live in Wetaskiwin, we notice that things aren't as good as they seem. We asked, how would you rate the job market in Wetaskiwin? And only 25% of people said it was excellent, that there's high paying jobs and they're easy to find. The same amount said it's poor. There are some jobs available. And 50% of people said it's awful. The job market has run dry. Now, a quick look today at some of the jobs that are offered, most of them are minimum wage. They pay $15 an hour. Most of them are retail environments or restaurant servers. There's a few outliers here, but you have to have really high education to get some of these jobs that are offered. And there's a lot of people vying for these jobs as well. Along with employment comes the cost of living, and we're all feeling that right now. So we asked, how would you rate the cost of living in Wetaskiwin? Nobody said it's excellent. 13% is good, that most goods and services are affordable. 13% said it's poor, everything is more expensive than they'd like. And 75% of people living in Wetaskiwin said it's awful. You have to take out a loan to actually live there. Now, according to housing markets and some things, it is much more affordable than a lot of places. But there's a lot of downside that comes with this. Now we asked, how would you rate the availability of amenities in Wetaskiwin? 0% of people said it's excellent. 17% is good. There are a good amount of amenities nearby. 50% said it's poor. There are some amenities nearby. And 33% said it's awful. There are virtually no amenities nearby. Now, this could be because a lot of people do shop elsewhere in Camrose and Leduc and Edmonton because they want to avoid the homeless situation. They want to avoid people who are causing a little bit of grief in the community. So they don't even bother shopping in their own small town. Another thing that makes communities really good is there's lots of things to do and see, lots of attractions. So we asked the same of people that live in Wetaskiwin. 0% said there's lots, there's loads of attractions and things to do. 17% said there's enough, there are a good amount of things to do. 17 said there's some, it's a little boring, there could be more things to do. And 67% of respondents said none, there is absolutely nothing to do in this area. Now, I would consider some of the museums in this area very, very high quality. So there are some things to do. And I think this poll is a little bit skewed because once you kind of visit a museum, you might not go back. So that's probably where they're getting their information from. They just don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. We also asked, how would you rate real estate in Wetaskiwin? 40% of respondents said it's excellent, it's very affordable, and a great return on investment. Some, 20%, said it's good, it's affordable with above average appreciation rates. 40% said it's poor, housing is somewhat expensive in this area. So we got to kind of consider if you have a really high unemployment rate, you have a lot of homeless problems, you have a lot of crime, it kind of weighs into that real estate. So we can see that real estate is really depressed in this area. Houses are cheaper for good reason. Well, with housing comes rentals. Now in Wetaskiwin, 0% said it's excellent. 0% said it's good to rent here. 40% said it's poor, it's expensive, and not many good options. 60% said rentals are awful. There hardly are any options, and it's actually very expensive. And it's absolutely true. Rentals are high here, and the options are very, very limited. This one is pretty easy. How accessible is public transportation in Wetaskiwin? Well, there is none. So 100% of people responded, there's no public transportation in this area. Another thing to consider is education for our children. How would you rate education in Wetaskiwin? 0% of respondents said excellent. 17% said it's good. The educational system is above average. 17% agreed it's poor. Many improvements could be made, and it's below average at best. 67% of respondents said it's awful. The entire system needs to be improved. A big factor is crime in Wetaskiwin. How would you rate the amount of crime in Wetaskiwin? 7% of people said it's excellent. There's virtually no crime in the area. 4% said it's good. There is a little crime in the area. 11% said it's poor. There is more crime than they'd like. But a whopping 78% said it's absolutely awful. Crime is rampant in this area. He asked, do you feel safe walking alone at night in Wetaskiwin? 0% said it's extremely safe, day or night. 4% said it's fairly safe. They feel safe walking in most areas. 14% said they don't feel very safe and they avoid walking in most areas at night. 82% said they're not safe at all and they have never walked alone at night. That is a very sad statistic because even in bigger cities like Edmonton and Calgary, they actually get really, really good responses here, usually in the fairly safe to excellent, extremely safe. So as you can see, there's a lot going on in Wetaskiwin. There's really high unemployment. There is a homeless problem. There is a drug and alcohol abuse problem. There is the problem of kind of revitalizing downtown and some parts of the city. But city council does not like information getting out about their city. The city is actually pushing forward a misinformation policy, which, if you provide information that goes against what they're trying to do, it just gets deleted or ignored altogether. So this has been something that's been going on in the community because denial does not fix anything. It does nothing to help any of these situations. This is actually a newspaper article that asked a resident what they think about this situation. They said, "Who decides what's misinformation? If it is something you don't like, is it misinformation? I don't like censorship, and this is censorship," she added. Another resident said that no one should be blocked from a public page for sharing their ideas. They shouldn't block you just because you don't agree with them, negative or positive. It should be your right to voice your opinion as far as I'm concerned, they said. Another resident's first impression after reading the whole statement was that the city was only wanting positive comments and not negative ones. If they don't like the comments, they don't care. They just do it their way and delete the comments, no matter what, he said. This is a very sad state. Wetaskiwin is a fantastic town, and it could be a really great town if the city council and members of the community would work together to help out all these situations. So instead of denying the high unemployment, attract new businesses, attract new job positions. Instead of denying the housing situation, work together on it. Instead of denying the drug and alcohol abuse and the crimes that are committed in this community, go after that. Fix it. Instead of just saying, no, our community is number one. This is the best community ever. Because we can see this is a community in decline. This is one of those places that is just kind of falling apart at the seams. And it is a small town in Alberta. And we know what is happening to small towns in Alberta. Very, very few of them are going to survive. Will Wetaskiwin survive? Probably not.